Hey folks, my name is Robert. Thanks for coming to the channel. I'm in front or beside my 2017 Toyota Tacoma because I want to talk about something that I installed a few years ago. I can't believe it's been a few years, and I only have 3 kids instead of 4. But anyhow, what I want to talk about is AALs, AALs. I had installed it initially, and I have a spring pack now. I'm going to go ahead and explain the pros and cons of having a AAL or AAL. So we'll be right back. So if you haven't been to this channel before, please check it out. And if you like this video, please like and share and subscribe if you haven't done so. But anyways, one of the biggest mods or most important mods or popular mods out there is the lift. Some people will keep their truck stock, and there's nothing wrong with it. You actually save a ton of money by doing that. But anytime you start to modify things, especially the lift, I'm going to warn you, there's a lot of things that you do to modify, but one is the lift, and it's going to make you want to do everything. So just a warning, guys. There's different ways to lift a truck. There's the cheapest way, which would be a spacer. So basically, you add a spacer below the leaf pack, and it would just raise it up physically. Doesn't change any ride or anything. It just literally lifts it up. Disadvantage of that, if it's a big lift and you're off-roading, you can have some binding, which is a bad thing. So if you keep it as a street, which is nothing wrong with that, if that's your taste, that's the cheapest way of doing it. The second way of doing a lift is the AAL, the AAL for short. And what that does, it literally, let's get a little closer here. Most trucks have what they call a rear leaf spring. So you can see different layers of leaves there, and that curvature will help create the lift. AALs, what you're doing is literally adding a leaf in here. So what it's doing is that you have a bunch of leaves and you add another leaf to help work with the curve, and you're basically trying to curve. If your leaf springs like this, you're trying to curve it tighter to force height, and that's going to help. But I've noticed there's a disadvantage of that. It depends on how strong your springs are. So Tacomas generally have weak springs, and they really can't take loads. So if you're not running a heavy load most of the time, you're good to go. But if you're running heavy loads over time, these will actually have a negative arch, and I actually experienced that. I had a decked storage unit over 200 pounds. I had a shell, so that made that worse. 2 kinds of AALs I want to go over. Mine was a 3-pack progressive leaf, and what that means is it actually had 3 different leaves in there. The advantage of that is that it doesn't force it as tight because it's less springs trying to get that curve. The other AAL, which is actually cheaper in price compared to the 3-leaf AAL, is the single one. It's just a single bar. But with that single bar, you're trying to make that curve to get that height with one single bar. So that's going to make the ride generally rougher overall. It just depends on what you're looking for. But again, I'm going to go over the install what I did on the 3-leaf pack. So you can see here I had to work at night, and that tends to be my luck. I do have to work at night, so make sure you have pretty good lighting. I had a 3-leaf AAL, and I noticed when I mock tested it that retainer clip was going to get in the way. So you could see me bending it out and grinding it. It depends on the model of AALs. So some of them may or might not need to have that retaining bolt and clip removed. So just mock it up in the right direction, and you'll be able to figure that out if you do need it. So here I'm just pointing at the bump stop and explaining the U-bolts that have to be replaced, because when you're using AAL, you're actually adding more height, and when you're adding more height physically and adding more leaves, you need to have longer U-bolts. And usually these AALs come with that in the kit, so you're good to go with that. Any exposed metals that you're grinding down, you can go and spray paint it. You don't really have to. It's just rust, but it won't hurt anything. Unbolt the e-brake line. I had to use a C-clamp to secure the leaf pack together. I took out the U-bolts and then used the jack to drop everything. I'm unclamping the leaves because you want to make sure it doesn't bounce loose, and it's just gonna drop pretty easily. Now in between each leaf I've added grease to reduce some squeaking, but just to let you know, it'll start squeaking. The hard part really is lining up everything back up, and this passenger side was much easier because you could drop it more. The driver's side you couldn't drop it as much, so my suggestion is to loosen up the brake lines when you can, so you could get a little bit more drop on the axle. Now some people are going to tell me, hey, how come you're not just going to remove the whole leaf pack and then just add the leaf there? And you can do that, but unless you've had true experience doing that, I wouldn't suggest it. That's going to be a lot of work. And then all I did here is patch everything back. You can see the overload spring was left there, and I did that because it actually gave me another 1/2 inch of height. Depending on the added leaves, some of them do or do not suggest using the overload spring because, again, as I mentioned, these Tacoma leaf packs have a negative arch, which is normal, so it might not work out. So that's how you install the added leaf. Alright, so coming back to this, I went ahead and got a full Devers pack. So this is a Devers full leaf pack stage 2, and the reason why is because, again, I had a heavy load, and when you're starting to add more people, it just needs reinforcement, and you only can do that with a full leaf pack. It does cost several times more than an add a leaf or a sweeper kit, but it's something that you must do if you're going to add weight and you want a certain height. You can see right here, actually raised my front more after the lift video I did 2 years ago. I had more weight because of the bumper and the wrench that I ended up raising the front, and then it put a big rolling in the back, so I had to offset it with the leaf pack. And a leaf wouldn't have done that as far as getting the amount of lift. I think this added about 3 inches, maybe 4 inches of height, versus the added leaf, they can get 2 inches maximum. There's that saying, buy once, cry once. That's what I've learned. If you need to plan out what your goals are on your truck, and try, I said try, your best to do it one time. You've seen my videos, unfortunately it's been more than one time. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please post below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification so that we can get notifications on new videos. And again, I appreciate you watching this channel. Hope to see you again. Peace out.